As you know by now, Brock Purdy has had the UCL surgery, and it was a success, which we wouldn't expect to hear anything different. Good news is it is the 6-month version of this where he got the internal brace. But I'm not here to talk about the surgery per se, but more the way the 49ers are putting a spin on this. And if you go to their website, it's very, very interesting what they said about Brock Purdy. They essentially said that Brock Purdy had surgery. And instead of giving you the 6-month mark, they basically give you the 3-month version, which is he will begin his throwing regimen after 3 months. And I found that interesting because this to me came off as a major PR spin. Why not use the 6-month barometer that we've all been told? Why do you use the 3-month on the official website? You're trying to make this as optimistic sounding as possible. Now, I will say this. I do expect that Brock Purdy will be back at some point during this year. And that is fantastic because we do not want the 49ers to go spend big money on a backup quarterback by any means. They need every single dollar that they have so that they can be players in free agency and they can make this team better. Hopefully, they can upgrade the offensive line. But I do want to clear some things up here because a lot of people talk about Nick Mullins and Jake Delhomme for good reason. These are the two guys that you know that have had UCL surgery as quarterbacks in the NFL, and they tell you these feel-good stories. But frankly, they're not true. And real quick, while I've got you, make sure to like and subscribe if you are enjoying the content here at Last Second Sports. It goes a long way in helping the channel out, and it's absolutely free to you. Let's get back to the content. Jake Delhomme, all you ever hear is that he had Tommy John and he was back in 9 months, which is true. I mean, that is a phenomenal recovery. What they don't tell you, though, is Jake Delhomme was a shell of his former self. He was god awful. Go look at the numbers. If you remember those days, he did not look near as good as he did prior to the injury. In fact, prior to the injury, in a 3-game span, he was having arguably the best start of his career. And then he gets injured. And if you go look at that touchdown to interception ratio, it was awful after that for the next 3 seasons. And he was ran out of the league. He did not play well at all. Then the other person that you often hear is Nick Mullins. And you hear this 5-month mark thrown around a lot with Nick Mullins. And the reason you hear that is because he had surgery at the end of January and he was signed with Philadelphia on June 14th. Sounds great on the surface. All right. Less than 5 months, in fact, he was ready to go. Well, that's not exactly how it played out. If you look, the Eagles had mandatory mini camp that ended just 4 days earlier. They strategically signed Nick Mullins to compete for their backup position, but they knew he wasn't ready to throw. So if you look at it, he didn't throw competitive passes until the 6-month mark, which was training camp. It was not an actual game. Then, if you look a little bit deeper, Nick Mullins actually didn't play a game for Philadelphia. In fact, he was cut. He was picked up by Cleveland and didn't play in a game until week 15. And that's the only game that he played in. So it did take a while for Nick Mullins to get fully back. The suggestion that Brock Purdy will be back week 1 ready to go, I would say let's pump the brakes just a little bit. The 6-month mark puts him into early September. That is also when the NFL season starts. So if we think that Brock Purdy, who is coming off of a rookie season, where he did some phenomenal things, by the way, we're not going to take anything away from Brock Purdy and how he played, looked awesome. But if you think that he needs no time in competitive situations to develop and hone his craft going into just his second year, and at the 6-month mark, will just be able to come in and play football and lead the San Francisco 49ers and look just as good as he ever did, I think that's an unrealistic expectation. So we'll see what the 49ers do. I do imagine that they're going to try to rush him back and have him be ready for week 1. But if that is the case, I would not put any expectations on Brock Purdy looking like the Brock Purdy that you saw to end this last season. Again, I just find it a little interesting the way that the 49ers put out their PR press today, giving the 3-month mark versus the actual timeline, which is 6 months. And when you hear these stories about other quarterbacks, dig a little bit deeper. Don't look at them at face value. Understand what actually happened and know that we have a very, very small sample size to go by. Brock Purdy may be just fine. And I'm not trying to make this doom and gloom or anything like that. I'm simply trying to say that there is a small sample size to go off of. We have no idea how this thing is going to go. And I think it's unfair to expect a second-year quarterback to come in without an offseason and just start immediately as soon as he's cleared to play without really going into any competitive situation. I just don't think it's realistic. So you tell me what you think down in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Do you think the 49ers are trying to spin this too positively? Or am I off my rocker and he's going to be ready to go week 1 and he'll look just as good as he always did? Let me know. Peace.